Yo, what's going on, everybody?
My man. Go ahead, B.
What's going on, y'all? It's another three-headed monster podcast. See, we got our jokes going on, but hey, y'all, how everybody's doing? First, I want to say, if you're watching this, share, share, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Also, introducing our new website that we just pulled up today. So the website is on the bottom, just strolling on there. So we officially are moving to another direction. I mean, not another direction, another level. So again, I'm Brother Brian, my buddy, sidekick. Not my sidekick, my partner, not sidekick, partner. What's going on, Jerome? Talk to me, Jerome.
What's up, y'all? What's up, Facebook family, YouTube family? It's again, we get to come together and bring out some interesting issues. Um, as always, everything that we talk about is strictly our opinions. Um, don't believe anything that we tell you. If you hear it from us, don't believe it. Go research it for yourself. Once you research it for yourself, come back. Let's talk about it. Let's politic. Let's build. Um, yeah, everything's good, B. What's up with you?
Everything is good, man. Fascinated by the studies that I
What's
keep
up,
putting
Brian?
this, huh?
Oh, I was in the comments. I said, "What's up, Brian?" Go ahead.
So we're gonna keep continuing on this and just pulling off the black scabs of early American history, early not American history, United States history. So this is before 1776. So we keep digging and digging and digging. I hate that we're going in reverse, in a sense, because we started with the Indian Removal Act, and then we talked about the Virginia, so we've been going back and forth. I'm sorry. I wish we can bring it up so everybody can understand, but hey, it is what it is. So we're gonna keep talking about scalping and understanding how scalping has made it's easy for us to not understand it because we keep hearing it in reverse. So when you hear scalping, you keep hearing of Indians going around scalping Europeans and colonists like they were so damn innocent and they didn't do nothing wrong. And these people, but people don't understand is if somebody comes in your yard and takes over your stuff, because I'm about to curse, how would you feel? Or how do you feel if you have a plot of land and somebody in your family sold it and they didn't, talk to you about it? So a lot of us have to truly understand what truly happened and how this whole scalping became a big game. It's kind of like the Hunger Games. You go out and you find somebody because if you get rewarded, understanding if
Well,
this is your only way of getting food,
yeah. Well,
to
I don't. I think more so than like um, it became commercialized. It became part of capitalistic society. Where human lives, um, were traded for money. Um, which goes on all the time today, but in a different stance. But without characterizing people of the time period, which it was a brutal time period, um, I think the light uh, should be shown on everything instead of we're always taught history from a certain perspective.
true that,
You know,
true that.
we only see it from one side. If you win, you get to tell the story,
Mm.
and so we're trying to shed light or put light on, the whole story so people can see, both sides can see truly what happened uh, in the formation of the United States.
And it's sad because once you do the research and you study it, man, it's gonna change the way you look at a lot of stuff. I
Well, I
mean,
mean, and it's amazing to me that how we were taught growing up that we could be so naive. Um, that if there were people on the land and other people come to the land, uh, there's going to be bloodshed. Nobody just gives up their home. Nobody just gives up their land. For it to change hands, there has to be bloodshed, or there had to be bloodshed. But we didn't hear about that. We heard that when these settlers came, there were a few natives there, here and there, but it was vastly open land. And what, that's far from the truth. And then you heard that these dark skinned people that you have in America now were brought to America on slave ships instead of them
mm,
instead of them being inhabitants in this wide open land that was here. And so the narrative was changed, like I said, to suit the victor. So the victor didn't look like a colonizer. So the victor didn't look like um, um, heartless conqueror. So the narrative changed, so that as history went on, nobody, hey, it was. I give you a for example.
hmm
So about 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, I went to Charleston, and I decided to tour one of the plantations. And so
mm,
I did that. And when we're in the big house, if you will, and they were, giving the story, they actually said, and this was the words, that the white settlers and the African slaves were in a partnership on the land. A partnership on the land. This is what they were teaching people like on the tour. And I was like, and they were looking dead at me when they were saying like, I'm like,
so
really?
it's kind of like
Partnership?
a whitewash.
That's a word. You can use that. I mean, that's a word. And see, the crazy thing, like what they would say, like now when you're talking about the opposite side, or not the opposite side, but actually the true perspective, they say that we're blackwashing history. You know, to make to make it as if uh, uh, the missing blacks, we put them in history. What I'm saying, that we created a narrative where now blacks were in America.
But I mean, when we look at this whole scalping, like you say, it become commercial gain. And let me see if I can, add some stuff going on. I think somebody said, "What's up, wrong?"
Yeah, that's what I was talking to earlier.
Thought you was talking to me, man. Thought you was
Oh
talking to me.
man, I,
All right, so we're looking at the values of somebody scalping. So we got in Massachusetts, $60 a head. And that's another thing that I'm actually we're gonna dig into is the King Philip's War. So we can truly let everybody understand what is really going on because everything is becoming a land grab. So if you go around scalping people, look at it. I mean, look at it. $60 for a head?
especially in that time period, what
Yeah.
$60 meant to a person. You're talking about the 1700s.
So if you got a bunch of buddies and you like, yo, let's go hunting.
Right.
It's kind of like watching.
The Purge.
There it is.
It's like watching The Purge. You know, and you got to put it in you got to put it in true perspective
Dude,
too.
you actually hit that right on the damn head, dude.
Right. And you got to put it in true perspective. They were not just scalping the adult males. They were scalping women. They were scalping children. You know, so you got to put it in perspective because a lot of times we think only this violence happened to men fighting men, but no, they were scalping women. They were scalping children. They actually had a different price for children.
Yeah, it's $25 for the children. It depends on which county, or like for instance, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania was doing $130 for male prisoners under the age of 12. No, over the age of 12, and under 12 is, hold up, I ain't got that pulled up. Let me show, because it's kind of like you have bounties out there for people. Why would you set
Exactly.
bounty? How can you set the tone and say we putting bounties on people? You see what I'm saying?
Right. What I'm saying is kind of like if you think of the Wild Wild West, right? That's kind of how it was here. It was almost lawless, but they had law. Um, it just didn't protect uh, certain groups, inside of the states. Kind of like how we feel today. That certain groups are protected and certain groups are not. But it's interesting enough if you look at uh, those states that had higher bounties for scalps. Why? Because they wanted that state cleared out a little faster.
So
People
we
were
look. So we're looking at Pennsylvania. We're looking at Delaware. We're looking at Jersey. In a sense, is where you have the highest bounties,
right,
and we broke that down. As I think that's kind of like where we were last week when we was breaking down William Penn and what his family did as a land grab.
right,
Once the father passed away, his son was like, "Hey, this is my father's land." His father
right.
didn't say all that. His father didn't push all that. So his father was more of a peaceful man, and then his son comes in and be like, "Yo, I want my daddy's records."
Right,
But I mean, that's how it basically was, though. So and then and the way they did it is they walked. So he had one of his guys, and the Indian chief had one of his guys because he was like, "Wait a minute, who? None of the elders here literally put that up. Well, who was here when y'all had this agreement? Because how can you come in somebody's territory and you turn around and say, hey, we bought this,' and they'd be like, 'From who?'
right,
But that's like, it's like for instance, Jerome, I come on your property and I say, 'Yo, this is mine,' and I created a document, got it notarized,
right,
and I'm saying this is mine, and you'd be like, who says it's yours? I got this piece of paper saying it's mine.
right,
Basically, that's how it was. So when we keep saying it was treaties, understanding you have to understand the language barriers of how words was used back then. So it was a lot of trickery
right.
to get what
What?
it is. And the reason why we throwing scalping in the thing, because the bounties that was put on our indigenous people, our ancestors, it was clearing out land. So I mean, we was told that the pilgrims came here
19.
1619,
Yeah.
1619. They were the first to come here. We already proved to you the Virginia Company was already here. Jamestown was already established. And then they
But
say
you're talking, but you're talking about the first English.
Jamestown is English.
No, no, no. I'm saying when you said the first to get here, I'm saying you're talking about the first English to get here.
True.
Because
First English to get here.
Portuguese and
Yes, yes,
Spanish,
yes.
they came in the late 1400s.
They was the first. But I guess to colonize. No, no, no,
Yeah,
no. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, from what
yeah.
we from what we was taught. That's all I'm saying
Right,
is to what we was taught.
right, right, right,
That the pilgrims came here. 1619.
True.
Next thing you know, Thanksgiving happens, and then we don't hear nothing until 1776
Right.
or the Civil War. Not the Civil War, the British War,
Yeah. British
Revolutionary War.
Revolution.
What the hell happened between all that? Because it fascinated me. I ain't gonna lie. That's why I'm kind of like deep into this study. But like, how the hell did they grab all this land from who? Because our people not just gonna uproot and leave unless they're, for one, you took out their leader, you took the elders out the way, and then you had a bunch of, you know, you had the next generation take over, and it wasn't really ready and understanding what truly was going on. Or like we studying, you scalping, you actually out here hunting. So it's kind of like how we keep hearing about the whole slave trade and how you was able to get slaves out of Africa. In a sense, you just see people there, you just kidnapping people.
Right.
But I mean, if you couldn't carry the head, you know, you carry the scalp. You can carry more scalps than you can with heads. But it was a bounty. It's the fucked up part of it. It was a bounty. The first bounty was done by this. You know what, man? I'm getting pissed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all.
Well, you
This,
gotta look at it. You gotta look at it like this too. When you talk about heads, you talk about trophies. It used to be in the European wars prior to them being in the Americas. If when you won a war, you would take uh, the enemy's head as a trophy.
true that,
And
true that.
so, if you were excuse me, if you were collecting heads, it would be troublesome to carry, say, 11 heads.
True that,
And it
true.
would be easier to carry 11 scalps. And so scalping was more prevalent in Europe prior to coming to the Americas.
All right. This guy right here, this person here is, it's like William, how the hell you say that fucking governor? Yeah, that dude there. He actually set the first bounty for heads. The first. And guess when he did this shit, Jerome? Guess when he did it, Jerome? Give me a date, Jerome. Throw it out there. Throw me a date when he
Let
started.
me see. Let me see the picture. Let me see the picture.
You can't see it? I didn't set it up?
No, what I'm saying I had to wind it. Nah, you fine. You had to wind it back down. Um, his picture that looks 1649.
1641.
Mm.
1641.
I
Now,
was
this
just looking
dude,
at how he was dressed.
I know, dude, just fucking English people.
Don't say that. English people are cool.
All right, I'm gonna let you slide. I'm gonna let you slide on that one. I'm, try- I'm trying to keep my emotions out of this because this is kind of. So he's the first governor. He's the governor of Manhattan, which is
Right.
where New York. Which, in fact, when you do the study on this dude, he is. Guess what company he worked for? Let me put it.
Virginia company.
No, wrong.
Oh,
Dutch
Clement.
West Indian Company.
Okay. I give you that.
So we got corporations this here.
Oh yeah.
It's corporations. So we had companies coming over here. Let's see if we pull up. What the hell is the Dutch
You
Indian
think that's a
Company?
new thing?
It's a charter company of Dutch merchants and foreign investors. Ooh. Among them, blah, 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 blah. I need to find out when they started. Was founded in 1602. Hmm. Is that before they came over here? My gosh, gee, yes. And it's another English company. Actually, it's a Netherlands company. You know,
Right.
New Netherlands, yeah, fuck it's Netherlands. I don't know. So now we got to understand it's a Dutch, company.
You
that
talking about New Amsterdam?
yeah, you can say New
Okay.
Amsterdam. We can say um, what's up. That's why Manhattan is kind of named the way it is because the Dutch actually owned was over New York before these battles because it was a lot of fighting between these countries, which is nothing new because they do this all the time. We watched it. You study English, you study European history, you see it's always fighting, infighting, infighting. But it did the same thing when they came here. But they used our ancestors, different tribes, help other tribes out. Help not only it was like either you help the colonists or you help your brother tribes, your brethren. So
I
he
think
offered. Go ahead.
no, I think because when we use the word tribe, right? I think
Hmm.
it's the mindset of people. You always think tribe, and you always think savage. You always think um, uneducated,
Hmm.
living more off instinct than being civilized.
True that. True
But
that.
these tribes that you mentioned, or these societies that were here, were extremely civilized. They already had cities. They already had trade.
Who told you
Uh,
that? Who told you that?
who told me that?
Yeah. Who told you
it's,
that?
okay, it's kind of
Where you finding
obvious.
that, Jerome? Jerome, I'm not. I can't take your word for it, Jerome.
Okay,
You just can't
so
be making up stuff, Jerome. You just can't
okay,
just be throwing stuff out there. But yeah, you're
all
right.
right.
You're right. You're
So
right.
I'll prove it a little bit then. So when we talk about, let's go back to 1492 when your boy sailed the ocean blue,
Who the fuck is my boy?
Columbus.
Columbus ain't but Columbo ain't my boy.
Colombo.
Come on, man.
So
You gonna make Hey, you better be glad I'm in Philly because I be coming knocking on your door like, yo, we need to talk.
so he came in 1492, and it wasn't by accident. He actually had navigators to take him on a trade route, and
True.
so he came to the Caribbean islands from a trade route, right?
Mhm.
So that means there was established trade already with West Africa and the Caribbeans and the Americas, as we know.
True that. True
So,
that.
and this has been for thousands of years. This is not new trade routes. These were thousand-year old trade routes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
so his
Taurus.
his oh, what's up, Taurus?
Peace, my brothers. Peace, peace.
He's big. And see, it's interesting enough that the company that you showed that was set up was the Dutch East Indian Company, right?
No,
The
Dutch
company.
West.
No, 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 no. Look at where it says this one that was set up. It was East. But the one that came to America, that's where they established the West,
Oh, okay. I got you. I got you.
right?
Oh, you know what? You know what? My man, my man, my man. I
Uh,
stand corrected. When the Dutch East Company was
right.
founded in
And see the rereason why I said that. Now think about it. If you can establish the company,
16.
and it be East, then you already know directions. So how do you know directions if this man just happened upon a certain place,
True that.
right?
True that.
So that means there's already uh, locations in this earth that people already know about.
True. True. So this is not unknown. It just the fact is
No,
everybody wants to put it out there that it's unknown.
exactly.
And then Taurus come out here eating some damn chips.
I'm eating that. I
What's
I
going
got
on,
some.
Taurus?
What's up, man? How y'all doing, brothers?
We good.
Good,
We good.
good.
Hey, you ready? Hey, we jumping in some history now. I don't know if you're ready for this roller coaster.
Oh man. I see y'all into it. Y'all into it pretty deep. Um, I don't know where y'all at. I know you're talking about scalping Indians.
But we was breaking down the just in case some people just not coming on. We talking about the again. Let me pull it up again. We talking about the Dutch, the Dutch West Company because we was talking about. I get pissed every time I show this dude. This guy right here
Yeah.
set up the first bounties of chopping off our ancestors, our brethren, our kinsmen, and he worked for this particular company, which Jerome was breaking down. It's an extension of Dutch East Company, which is the European side. Correct? Am I right, Jerome?
Right.
And
That's
the Dutch
correct.
West side would be considered the new company, which will be representing the American side.
See, it's you see how it's Indian, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you know anything about India, you know, the people that you normally see at like the gas stations or, in certain hotels are
Yeah.
not a representation of the majority. The
Mm-hmm.
majority, most of them are darker than we are.
True
True.
that. True that.
And so that's why when they came to Americas, that's why they called the black people that they saw Indians, or they looked like the Indians that they had dealt with when they were in India.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they call them Indian. A lot of people say it comes from the word indigo, but that's originally when it talks about the darkness of the people in India.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what you when you was talking about the darkness of them, I don't know if they do it up there, but whenever I go to Gaffney and to the black neighborhoods and they own the gas stations, they would greet you. What's up, my brother? And same here in Georgia. I walked into one today. He said, "How you doing, my brother?" I said, "I'm doing fine, brother. How you doing?" And that's the way they greet us. I mean, one dude, we he owned a building we was renting it from, and he was from over in India, and he considered himself as a black man,
Mm.
a minority. That's what he said. He said, "I'm a black," and that's what they consider themselves to be.
I mean, if it's just on color, they definitely fit the bill because most of them are way darker than us.
Yeah, they're darker, and I meant, man, when I tell you this dude was darker than me, and I couldn't discriminate against him. I said, "Well, yeah, you darker than me, so yes, I got to say, what's up, my brother?"
And you know what the funniest thing is, and it shows you how because they have a caste system, in India. I don't mean to get into India real quick, B, but when you're talking about darkness, the very lowest of the caste is called the untouchables, right? So the untouchables are the blackest people, in the country. And it just shows how the caste system mixed in with the colonizing Europeans, how we've been it's been an orchestration around the world to keep us at the bottom.
Got it. Got it. You see what I got highlighted?
And I can't see that.
Put your glasses on, Taurus. I know you old as
I,
hell.
I got I got glasses on, man. I still
How the hell
can't
you
see.
can't, man? Yo, I am not. Yo, I'm not pulling your card today, man.
Hey,
Get your reading
man,
glasses on. Put them
I
on the
got
bottom of
read.
your nose so you can see. So you look at it like this.
You take a look at what I got now.
All right. So, all
And
right. Let me read it to you. It said on the 3rd of June, 1621. Wow, that's an interesting time frame. Ain't that the time when the first slaves made it to America? But that's a whole different story. Was granted
That was
charter from
29.
a
That was 29.
hmm?
That's 29.
No, the first slave came in
1629.
1621. 1621, Jerome. You'll make me pull up my history on you.
Pull it out, baby.
God damn it. Let me finish this first.
Go ahead.
The trade monopoly between the Republicans of seven United Netherlands and gave jurisdiction over Dutch participations in Atlantic slave trade, Brazil, the Caribbean, and North America. How the hell can they grant you all this damn power and they ain't even been here that long? This area company is seen in it again. The area where the company could operate consisting of West Africa between the the tropics of Cancer and the Cape of Good Hope and the Americas, which include the Pacific Ocean and the eastern part of New Guinea. Hmm, interesting. It's fucking history right here, baby. I love this. So now we're seeing that companies, because everybody had a company. So we find out the Virginia company is the one that granted the British to come here, the British colonies to come here. Now we're talking about the Dutch, and the Netherlands is granting them. So all of a sudden, this is a corporation. The United States is a
The Dutch are
damn
Netherlands.
Well,
corporation.
it's been there, brother.
But you
It's
can't
been
tell
there.
nobody that. So what do corporations need? They need to make a profit off their money. So what we need? We need to clear out some room because you got to understand though, what is produced in Europe that we really need?
You saying
No-
what they
Yeah, what do Europe produce that we truly need?
Nothing.
yeah, I don't
You're
see
not
it.
you're not going to leave your country if your country is rich in resources and explore other countries. You just basically you're telling us that if you do look at all the movies, look, every time you see anything in Europe, you see nothing but depressing. You have your nobles, you have your peasants, you have your noble knights and they shining armors. And then when you see, yeah, and then when you read the books of when they came here, they see us dressed in gold. We dressed in pearls. We got jewels on. We have stones on. We have so who's really looking for it versus who's this is just how we dress. So we are always been flashy dressers as a people. I hate that we're getting off topic, but I'm trying to bring it in, trying to bring it in, trying to bring it in. So now we have to understand that the Dutch is in this, and Dutch is, we need this. We got to make a profit. The Virginia company said the same thing. We need to make a profit. So you need to go find something that you bring back so we can make money off of.
All right.
You don't go exploring unless you're trying to find something to bring back. So we always say that the slave trade is in reverse. You bring back slaves from the Americas.
Well, I mean, you got to think about it. At that time, Europe
Yeah,
was was destitute, was bankrupt, if you will. Um,
true.
like I said, they didn't have the resources to maintain world dominance or world power. Um, and the Americas, the African continent, are full of resources. Human capital being the number one thing, uh, as far as slave labor. But I mean, of course, they were bringing everything back to Europe. Nothing ever. It was not fair trade. You didn't get anything from Europe that was fair trade. So it was just pillaging. They pillaged America.
And the reason why I brought this up is everybody got to understand who in the hell is paying for these damn bounties. You, who's paying for it? Because you're not gonna come here as a colonist. You ain't got you. What money did you got? You came over here in resources. You didn't come here in money. You didn't come here in currency. You came in here resources to trade or whatever you can find. So if you establish in a fort that we keep hearing, which the way they said the pilgrims came here for religious freedom, which is another thing because religion is a whole big difference. Oh my God, religion has a big problem.
But
And
that's how
wow,
they got to the people coming here, preaching love and peace, like they're doing now. But at the same time, they had an agenda to come and
would you
seek.
would you change it if it's working? Would you change it?
No, if it's working good for me, I wouldn't. If it ain't broke, why fix it?
So we saying that this whole thing, this whole peace, freedom, in the name of, you know, this whole religion, religion. They came over here pushing religion. What's going on,
Right.
Jeremy? Jeremy on it. What's going on, Germany? No, but it just how is it that everybody's not seeing this? Nobody likes to study this. I guess because they not put it in American history in school, and you're not going to pay attention to it because if they don't teach that in the school, that means it's not true. It's not accurate. Fuck that. Everything that you learn in history, it's a gap. It's a gap. Every time, it's a gap.
Yep.
So go
But I'm
ahead, man.
saying
Go
history is
ahead.
always taught from one perspective. You never get a full perspective of history. It's never taught 365 degrees. You never get to see all the way around it from both sides. Um, you know, the hunter is always going to get to tell the story if he shot the lion. So that's the only perspective you're going to get. So when we talk about history from a different perspective, it's always going to be hard to take. It's always going to be hard to digest. It's going to be hard to listen to. But
Yeah.
that's because it's the perspective, and it seems like it's untrue, but it's only untrue because it's unheard. You know, so we like to bring out a lot of different perspectives of the same truth.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you now. If for some reason I got a lightning show going on over here, so if my power go out,
But but
understanding.
let me ask you something,
But go
Jerome.
ahead, bro. Go ahead,
Yep.
man.
And it's a perspective in 365 degrees. They teach it. They teach their history in school at that during not even during history moments, but during school period. So if you're going to school for 9 months, they're teaching their history. And
Indoctrination.
and what I think, and this is my opinion, is that they are scared to bring Black history into the schools because it will, how can I say it? It will open up a lot of eyes for young Black men and Black women. And if they find out their true history, then not only will that bring unification, but that would tear down religion.
I
Right.
think, yeah.
Go ahead,
I,
John.
I was trying to find the
Go ahead, John.
question in that, but but
I think I got kind of like the question, but go ahead.
right. Well, let me tell you like this. You know how you said Black history. Well, first of all, for me, and this is just my opinion, I don't think it's anything that is Black history or called Black history. You know, we are history. Um, I look at it from the perspective of that when they indoctrinated you, the first thing they did was they tore you down, um, so you didn't view yourself as great. And when you
Mm-hmm.
don't view yourself as great, I can talk about history, right? And I can give you things that so-called Black people done. But because you don't view yourself, you never say that a Black person done that. You say, oh, in your mind, automatically you think it was somebody that was, say, Caucasian instead of Black. But they gave you the history. It's just because your indoctrination has you so warped. You don't know what's yours and what's not yours. So you don't even accept anything as yours. All right. Like take for example, like when you was in school, like I'm a little bit older, so y'all around my age. So
Whoa, whoa,
when
whoa,
you
whoa,
were taught
whoa!
about
Oh, you and y'all about the same age. Y'all both
okay, well he
old
looks
and
like a young man now. What you mean y'all
who?
old? Anyway,
Go
so
ahead. Like,
so have you ever heard the term? That's a real McCoy.
yeah.
Well, where do you think that term comes from? You have any idea?
Uh-uh.
Okay, so when they first made the engine, right? The engines didn't last long because they would overheat because they didn't have oil circulation, right?
Oh, cool.
So
Mm-hmm.
Elijah McCoy was a black man.
Black man.
Created
Okay.
he created a oil pump, and it was the most efficient oil pump for any motor that Ford or anybody could use, right? So when a car would run and it run real good, they would say, "Oh, that's a real McCoy," because he was talking about the oil pump that Elijah McCoy had created. So a lot of people know we say it. We used to, back in the day, we used to say that's the real McCoy right there, and never had any idea you was talking about a black man's
Black man.
oil pump. See, that was
Knowledge.
our history, and you had that history, and you had that history all your life. You just didn't know it was Black history.
I see where you go,
So I
but
mean, there's a
I think
lot. I mean, they
let's say
actually
they teach that in the schools.
but they
Just
don't teach you who it is. They
they
just teach
but they
history.
period, man. My kid
Right.
when I was in school, and I'm probably a year maybe older than you. I know I'm a couple of years older, well, a few years, but they didn't teach that to my kids, and they're not teaching it to the kids now. My grandson, who is 14 years old, don't know nothing about the
Right.
the history of, even to the point of a black man who invented a car before Henry Ford. Henry Ford just done the mass production,
Oh,
but you
not just create the car. He had a car company. It was
yeah,
Patterson's Cars. They were out of Ohio. Patterson Cars.
and
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying. Our kids don't know about that, but but the only time they teach about it is during February month of Black History. They might bring one person to the light, and who they usually bring is Harriet Tubman. I mean, but they don't tell you about the other people that have, they bring for Frederick Douglass. But what about those who uh, freed the slaves? I learned about John Brown. I learned about him in school. But the thing they brought out him about.
What's
He
that?
helped slaves and they hung him.
Right.
That's all they said.
Right.
But during my time in school, it was all about George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, but I didn't find out until I got well on up in age and start reading for myself that most black people invented most of the stuff that's going on today, like the
actually we
railroad,
invented basically all the
yeah,
stuff that they do.
peanut butter, and you know, I mean, first black man open heart surgery. I mean, it's just so much that
It's the
I had
peanut butter, man.
it's so much I had to learn from outside of school, which I should have
Right.
been knowing this from. This is why I say they scared to teach that, because it would unify and bring more blacks to power. And this is something I think, that's my opinion, that if they find out the truth and they really know who they are and find out who they are, then we in a world of trouble. Frank. I mean, what's his name? Oh man, Roosevelt, not the president. He's over the Hoover, Edgar Hoover. He
Oh
said the
yeah.
worst
Oh yeah,
thing
he did.
that
Oh yeah,
He
yeah.
became
Hoover.
president, but yeah.
Hoover, no, who the over the
FBI.
yeah.
FBI.
Yeah.
He
Hoover.
said the
But he
worst thing,
became president though.
yeah, but he said the worst thing that can happen is for blacks to unify, because that's why they killed Fred Hammond. I mean,
Right.
yeah, that's why they killed him, because he was
Right.
unifying people. Martin Luther King. You know,
True.
it's so much, man, that they're not teaching our children, and then when we get to a point to try to teach our children, they look at us like, "What did you get that at?" It's research. Find it.
Right.
It's more books than just at your high school or at your school. Go to the library.
True.
Go to public library. Go look it up online. And that I just look at that, my brother. I mean, I really do, and I know what you're saying when you
Right.
say, we've been. It's like we've been programmed.
That's exactly what it is. We've been
Been pro,
programmed.
you
That's
know.
indoctrination. You you have to be taught for there to be control. There has to be a subservient, and so you have to be taught to be subservient. Because that's not a natural state. It's not a natural state to be under somebody. You know,
Hmm.
we stand upright. So standing upright, you shoulder to shoulder, you eye to eye, right?
Yeah.
So in a natural state, you're not subservient. So you have to be taught, in most cases, beat into subservience or to be subservient. Um, so when we talk about history, the reason why it's not just unifying, because if you look at if you look at anything where there was masses of people that were dark like us,
Hmm.
there was never total unity, right? There's never
Yeah.
been a monolithic black people. We all was one way. We all thought one way. We all done one thing, but there has been where we worked together when we stood shoulder to shoulder, eye to eye. See, the point is why they make you subservient is that you don't know, like you say, you don't know who you are. So if you don't know who you are, you don't know what power you have, right? So they taught you to be powerless because you didn't know who you were. And the reason why they hide history from you is because not only will you find power, you'll find strength. Strength is what changes things. Power has to be given. Strength doesn't have to be given. Strength is already inside of you. You have to give somebody power. And so you're not being placed in a place of strength. That way you can't dictate power.
Yeah, that's deep.
so because I'm history, man. Listen, history is so rich and so deep. Um, I wish we could get into a little history, but I won't. I won't do it. I know we gotta stay with the scalp, but
but I mean, but I mean, we it's the notion basically is indoctrination to the highest power. In other
right,
words, I still have to keep you in a slave mindset because if you, but see, I mean, this scalping can basically tell you if I kill your elders, who gonna pass on, you know,
the knowledge.
the knowledge from generation to generations. If we land grabbing, if we out here assassinating tribal leaders, if we going out here and we, dude, there's so many wars that was going on. A lot of our ancestors didn't go down; they went down fighting. They was like, yo, hey, either we gonna die fighting, or this is it. So now we have to understand it's like we lost a lot of history because a lot of knowledge was not passed on to the next generation.
Right.
And when they started schools, it was a wrap. It was a wrap. When schools started, it was a wrap. And then not only that is when integration hit in, which we
No,
looking before that.
no, no, no. You hit it dead on the head when you're talking about how they hid history from us or how they stopped history was through integration because we used to have our own schools and we would teach ourselves the history and we would pass the history along. But when you integrated, you gave control or you gave power to others to dictate the narrative of what you learned. And
So
see,
by
when you
integrating, gave them the power.
Yeah, we gave away our power. We gave it away because now the perceived majority gets to dictate and see because they said, well, you came in with us, this is what's going to happen. The greater good. Now, listen to that word, the greater good for everybody. All lives matter. This is how we're gonna do things for the greater good. And we're gonna teach this history for the greater good. Since you guys are a part of us now, we'll learn history like this. You don't have to have a history because why? You're a part of us now. So you'll take the history that we give you.
So they basically done what they did in slavery, stripped us of that which we gave to them by
But see,
inter.
yeah, yeah.
I
But
mean,
see,
it
it's the
wasn't
same
given.
charge now.
It wasn't given like we think it was given. It was given. It was more like forced because if you don't, say for instance, if you don't go to school, how can you learn how to? I mean, unless you learn a trade, how can you make money?
Yeah, but still, you had to agree to those terms because why? You had schools prior to this. You were making money
Are
prior
we?
to this.
Are we talking about integration?
Oh, I
Was
thought
the
that's
worst
what you was
thing?
talking about. I thought
No,
you were talking about
it really is
integration.
one of the worst things that we ever did,
Of course.
and our children are paying for it right now. Because now, if we try to teach real knowledge, real history, everybody's not going to believe it because they're going to back whatever school system that you went to. And Taurus, we all from an area that school systems ain't strong.
True,
All the knowledge that we got, we have to read on our own. You
very
know what
true.
I'm saying?
Well,
I mean, when we see this history unfold, which we're gonna get deep into it, dude. This is you got to understand between the Pilgrims and the Revolutionary War. Only damn thing you hear is that one Thanksgiving. So we looking at 100 years, 150 years
Yeah.
of what the hell happened, and nobody wants to talk about it because then you start seeing the evilness and some of the bad shit that happened because it's a lot of bad stuff that happened. And this is one of the things that we're talking about because the way you get rid of people, you got to eliminate them. And scalping was a way that you eliminate people by you giving a certain amount of people, Europeans, power that they never had before. So everybody's hungry. It's kind of like if you if you're a slave patroller, your job is to go what? You get to go hunt, beat
Yeah,
up, and go.
slaves.
You get to go hunt slaves down. You get to. It's an adrenaline rush. So if
And
you
you
get to
and you
if you
protected
catch
by the
some,
law. You're the law. You're protected by the law and you get to do those things.
but the point
that's why
is we got two
was
different law
made.
systems.
Got two different what?
You got two different law systems going on. You have the laws
When
of indigenous. No, I mean you got to understand the indigenous people had their own customs and laws, and then you have the Europeans come in and they saying our law supersedes yours. Why? Because I have
right,
a gun. Because I have a gun.
right. But
Now everybody gets these gun laws is so important.
oh
But go
yeah.
ahead. My bad. Let me get off. Let me get off.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
no,
What
no.
was you?
No, you dead on point. Um I thought about something George said when he was talking about George Washington and we're talking about Thomas Jefferson and what we were taught in school. You always taught Washington never told a lie. Uh, right?
That's untrue.
Yeah, I'm saying, that. I mean, how ironic is that? George Washington never told a lie.
Or
This
honest
man,
aid?
well, hold on, I get the
Yeah. Go ahead.
age, and George Washington had these wooden teeth. You remember you heard that all the time? He had the wooden teeth, and then when you find out that they have in a museum where he took the teeth from slaves and made his teeth, so he took humans. If you had a good set of teeth, he would take teeth out of a living person's mouth and made himself some dentures. This dude that never lied. You got Thomas Jefferson, who stayed up all night writing the Declaration of Independence that said all men are created equal. but yet he owned slaves.
Yeah, George Washington, all of them.
No, I'm talking about Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah,
So,
Thomas Jefferson on
and,
slaves had children by her.
right, but I'm saying the contradictions that we were taught in school,
Yeah, you're right.
and
It was,
so we have this image of our forefathers. I, I say that tongue in cheek, our forefathers, um, that were nothing but lies. But do you see that corrected today in the books, in the school books?
no.
And I mean, and it's public knowledge.
Yeah.
It's public knowledge, but they still won't change it in the school books. So
Oh, how
that
about this,
tells you
Jerome?
that tells you there's some intent with the indoctrination.
And the scary part about it is, I teach my boy real history. It's just the fact is, when they get into school, they bump heads with them teachers. Because why? That's not right. They don't make no sense. Think about it. 1776 is when the United States became a nation. George Washington don't become president until 1789. So we're looking at least 13 years of what? Nobody says nothing between it. Nobody never explains it. And what's what we gonna do? We gonna keep explaining what the hell is going on between here. So now we in the 1700s. We started in the 1600s. Now we're in the 1700s, and we see nothing but slaughter of our people, slaughter of our ancestors. They killing us. It's no different in today. That's why they put us in projects. Projects ain't nothing but plantations and just concrete plantations. I just need to keep
Right?
y'all in one area. I need to keep you in one area. So when we see these people, and we because my question, because I think I asked you, Jerome, how the hell did they get all this land?
Right.
And when you
Right.
study and you dig, and you're like, I see how they got all this land. So you telling me you're gonna give me? I think the highest bounty was $150 for a head. Tell me you ain't gonna go out there and go try to find all the heads that you can, because you know what? You're sitting rich. You're sitting in a noble seat. If you can, if you know where they at, if you know how to get them, if you find enemies, that's another thing. If you find tribes that's already warring against each other,
Mm-hmm. You just pit them against each other.
And
you
that's what they did
hey,
in
I'm gonna
the
give you
Indian.
this. I'm gonna give you
And
this. You my ally. Wink, 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 wink. You my ally. But we gotta get rid of these people, because if they get rid of these people, we gonna leave y'all alone.
Right.
Not only the whole time, is we're gonna snatch your damn land too. But
Exactly.
go ahead, go ahead,
Nah.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I feel like this with the scalping thing, when they scalp Indians to show that if you cross that line and money, and
No, it was all
and
about money. It was all about money.
they would scalp you, sell it, and show your people this is what will happen. This is what can happen. We're going to make money off of it, and we're gonna degrade you.
And they cut the heads off the elders.
Yeah. I mean, and if I always say this, man. I talked to one guy, he's dead and gone, God bless him. He always said this: if you kill the head, everything else gonna die out.
That's why you take
Right.
the black man out of the house.
If you kill the head, and I tell my wife this. I said the Caucasian male has done in back in the slavery days done a powerful thing. He didn't destroy the body. He killed the mind.
Right.
So by taking out the head, he felt like that mama with 12 children, they're gonna come up and be wild, in trouble, not listening, in jail. So if the father's not there to guide them and lead them,
Mhm.
then they say we got them now. They already defeated.
But you could also look at it like this: if I can kill the people that you look up to in public, in the open, if I can literally assassinate them in front of you, like
Right.
Malcolm X, like Martin Luther King, like you saying Henry Newton, when I can kill you and people see that, you take the fight out of the. It's like you take the fight out of a lion.
Exactly.
So
You're
it's
right.
kind of like every time. That's why you don't see it. That's why it can't. We cannot come together in their eyes because when we come together, is dangerous for. Say for instance, all of Africa come together. It changes the world. If our people here come together as one body, one unit, it changes the world. When you start knowing your history and understand who you are, it changes your mindset, and you'll make sure that you don't tell your next generation the BS that's going on.
Right.
Now, it comes at a cost. Do we put a target on ourselves? Yeah, but then at the same time, we look at our ancestors. Hey, long as the next generation knows, we did our job.
Right.
That's like you say, we raise our kids until they get out of high school and we be like, hey, I did my job. It's like,
Right.
no, you didn't really do your job because your job never ends until you're laying down in the ground. That's when your job ends,
Very
teaching.
true.
But we have a tendency, and maybe we got it from watching, you know, other people do it. We consider once they're out of school, I did my job. They're 18, they grown. Are they really grown? I know we talking about something totally different, but we're not because it's like we. Why is it a cutoff point of teaching knowledge?
Right.
We see the people that if we see the elders that the books that I got from elders, they up in their ages. They die giving out knowledge. Why are we stopping? Why we're in our 40s. We're in our 40s and our 50s right now. We're talking about knowledge. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You're not supposed to stop.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna tell you with me personally, man. When I was reared up, growing up in the country, uh, on a farm, you know, my 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 dad never. He's 74 years old, man. He never talked about that, but he wasn't really in my life like that either. My mom, who left, I got two mamas, so one left at 89. She never talked about that. And Reen never talked about that. You feel me? And I know my aunts and uncles and how I had to come into myself, man. I didn't even know who I was when I first started talking with y'all fellas. I didn't
Right.
know who I was. I had no idea, man. It wasn't until I had to come to grips one day when Jerome asked me that question, do you know who you are?
Yeah, he
And
hit me with that too, though. That
yeah,
I don't know what the hell it is when he asks you that question. You have to
yeah,
answer that shit.
yeah, but it messed my head up, man, because we was always told, you know, that you king of your house, you king, but it lies deeper than that, man. And this is something that I had to learn. And by learning that, I try to teach and my baby boy, Junior, he's becoming to learn who he is and study history and learn more about history. Which me and him talk. And I told him, even my other son, who just graduated, he come and asked me, he went to all black private school, man. And they didn't teach them some of the stuff that we was talking, me and him was talking. They didn't teach it. And
Because
he
they
said,
have
I
a
didn't
curriculum. They have a curriculum they still have to do that's run by the state, which is a
and
whole different government
whole
all in
different,
itself.
even in private school, man. So
Yep.
I told my son, I say, son, this is research that you have to do in order to learn who you are. I say, I can tell you all day, but you need to research and see who you are to
Right.
know who you are. And I say, to know who you are will give you, empower you. And I tell my wife that all the time. I said, baby, you know who you are. And dealing with Caucasian people in business down here in the South, I told my wife there's certain things that you need to know in order to be able to deal with the things that come about. So you have to know who you are, man. And teaching our kids this, I feel sorry for the next generation because they're not really wanting to learn who they are. Because now, these young kids now, man, they just want to come together and party and smoke weed.
Well,
Mm.
I mean, they don't know. They don't want to know who they truly are because they already have an image that they've been given of who they are right now. The media, gives them an image of who they are. Music, TV, all these things. It's interesting that, and I'll just make the point like this. Have you ever heard somebody say, "Well, I don't see color,"
Yep.
right? Or somebody just say,
Somebody said this shit to me today. I laughed my ass off.
so see, when people say things like that, that's part of the indoctrination because what you're being taught is you don't have any individuality. That your blackness or your darkness, however you want to classify yourself, your melanin, doesn't matter because we're all one now. We're all integrated. They still taking your power and your beauty and your strength, your intelligence away from you by saying, well, I don't see color. We all matter. When you say you all matter, it means that you don't matter. You know, individual love means something. You need to love yourself. When you quit loving yourself, you start listening to other people to tell you how you are. You listen to other people to tell you what your worth is because you quit loving yourself. So us as a people don't have any worth to ourselves because we
Mm.
look for worth to come from outside of us. And see, that's why you're always gonna be taught that you're worthless. You go to church and sit down, and the first thing they tell you, you're worthless. You don't mean nothing. If you ain't got God, you ain't got nothing. You are nothing without God. So you always get this message that you're worthless. And so, and not understanding that you are the universe and that you're boundless. You have more inside of you than can ever be recovered.
What's up, man?
But But like I said, that's what I always get with the messages work, man. We're not taught. There's no way that you can be taught outside of your people what your worth is. No other people can teach you what your worth is. That's just like you said you got a 14-year-old grandson. So
Yeah.
if you go to your 14-year-old grandson,
Oh no, you
and
good.
or B, if you go to your 2-year-old grandson and granddaughter or whatever, and you ask 3-year-old and you ask them, well, tell me the family history. How's that gonna work out? If when you ask your 3-year-old that. And so why are we going to people that are so much younger than us and trying to ask them what is our place in this world? That makes no sense. You don't go to a 3-year-old and ask the 3-year-old what's the whole civilization's worth? What's the place of this civilization? Because they don't know. They hadn't been around long enough to know. The only documentation that they got, they stole from us.
True that. True that. True that.
But at a certain age, they should be able to come to understand.
Yeah, but they have to be taught by an elder.
Bingo,
Yeah, saying.
bingo,
But
and
that's
that's
where
the
we
problem.
come in. As being an elder of the household and teaching them, because like my grandson who's 14, he began to understand, and I tell him, I said, and me and him talk whenever we together, and I let him know who he is, and told him to research and find out more about himself and his people.
All right. Wow, knowledge. Never run from it. Always understand it. Always be able to receive it, and that's something that we have taught ourselves not to do. All right, y'all. We're gonna have to wrap this up. I love this, man. Tars,
Well,
I'm glad you jumped back on here because you're gonna start. I like this. You coming here with these questions. We might just need to do a question and answer with just what you want it.
well,
But
I look at that, bro, and I'm always, I'm trying to be like a sponge. I'm trying to soak up everything I can soak.
I feel you. I
Cause
feel you.
I am I am 53 years old, man. I'm not getting no younger. My kids are, you know, grandkids are growing up, and I want them to know who he is. And I want you to understand. I got my two of my grandchildren. Mother is Caucasian, and me and my son get into this tassel sometime, and he'll say, "Well, I want him to know his both sides." But I say, "I understand that, son." I say, "It's good that he know both sides." But I say, in all actual reality, they're gonna classify him as a black kid. I said, they're gonna classify him. I said, whether you want it or your mama want it or not. When they look at him, they're gonna say he's black. Who is his daddy? You gonna holler me? He black. And I say, this is why we need to teach our children the things that they need to have to know who they are.
Facts.
Because now, my kids are like I say, my son got baby by a Caucasian woman who he's still with. Love her to death. But I tell him all the time, you got to teach him who he is, because I say the world gonna let him know who he is. Whether he can say, well, my mama white and daddy black, yeah, you black, boy. I say, I hate to say that way, but that's the way it is, son.
It's the one black. It's the one drop rule.
Yeah, and that's the thing I want to teach him. But I'm like, I want to be like a sponge, man. I'm always. It don't matter what I know. I'm willing to learn more and more. But like I say, I didn't really come into myself until I got with y'all. Didn't know who I was, and I was lost, man. I thought I was, on the right path. I'm being real, but
Yeah.
I was to a point to where my mind was like, man, hold on, man.
Something
Who
ain't
am
right.
I? Yeah, something ain't right. So I started researching. I started looking, and I called you wrong. Did I not call you?
Oh
I said,
yeah.
man, I know what you was asking me. He started laughing at me.
No, no. The reason why I'm laughing because I did the same damn thing.
So he went to. He said, "Ha ha ha ha! Sit your mind open. Let me talk to you." But
Is
it's
that right
good that
there? That laugh right there.
yeah, that laugh right there.
Hey,
And
hey,
now,
it's like that laugh of that noble one just floating in there. Now you come back, my child. Now you.
hey, Brian. I guess he couldn't talk to me at that point in time. I guess he had to wait for me to come to open mind. Then he said, "Let me talk to you." Now your mind open.
Right.
Because it is a
Uh,
personal. It actually is a personal journey. It is a journey that you
Yeah.
have to do within
Yeah.
yourself. So
it's a
You know,
journey.
one of the biggest things that stuck with me is and I heard it before, and it took years for it sink into my head. But when a student is ready, a teacher will appear. So you
Yeah,
have to be ready first as a student to understand that the teacher was right there anyway.
true.
I,
Facts.
I saying that's fact. That's true. That's 100. And hey, man, we are here as a student to soak up the sponge it up, to soak it up like a sponge.
All right, I feel you. I feel you. All right, y'all. We're gonna have to wrap this show up tonight. Again, I appreciate everybody being on. Everybody, check out our website, 3hmonster.com. Subscribe. Shoot us.
Hey,
Hey, send us messages. You can send us messages through that and everything. So show us
yeah.
some love, and we'll show you some love back. So I guess my final word is, understand yourself, know thyself, love thyself, but always be yourself.
and
So
Jerome, man, um, my condolence on your family. I just lost my cousin last week, and we gonna bury him Saturday. So I
My,
understand the loss, brother, and my condolence to you
my
and
condolences to you too, bro.
hold up,
family. And,
Taurus. Who passed away?
oh, Joshua, man, from New York, the one that lived in New York,
Oh yeah, yeah,
Donnell.
yeah. Yeah, I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah, he passed last week. So my condolence, man, and yeah, brother, let's do it again, man. I'm all up for it whenever y'all invite me to come on. I'm all ears, ready to soak up, ready to give what I can give.
All right, Jerome, get your last words out, man. Finish it up, man.
Oh man, we went so many places tonight. So one thing that really resonates that I keep hearing is self worth, self value, and understanding that without you, this world wouldn't exist. Um, so understanding truly when we talk about truly who we are,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I'm not talking about you yourself. I'm not talking about your grandma. I'm talking about going back hundreds of thousands of years and
Yeah,
understanding that you established this earth and to understand that to get back to a position of power,
Mm-hmm.
you have to learn who you are and
Facts.
know who you are.
that's right.
Facts.
So all I say is one, one, love yourself. Love yourself. That's where it starts. You love yourself, you'll start to look more for yourself.
Hey, y'all. Again, like, share, subscribe. Hey, show us our love, and we'll show you love back, y'all. This is a Three Headed Monster podcast. Peace.
Peace.
Peace, family.